Before the sun rises, before the first car moves, before your phone lights up beside your bed, something is already happening outside your window. You stand there in the blue-black dark, half awake, staring into a backyard that should be still. No people, no daylight, no wind. But then, you see it. A small shadow jumps from one branch to another. Then another shape moves along the fence. Then a tiny call cuts through the cold air. It is not loud. It is not beautiful. It almost sounds nervous. And suddenly, the yard does not feel empty anymore. It feels watched. It feels awake before you are awake. Most people think birds begin their day at sunrise. But sunrise is not the beginning of their world. It is already the middle of something hidden. And the strangest part is, the first birds you hear are not always singing for joy. You have probably heard birds in the morning hundreds of times. Maybe you thought it was peaceful. Maybe you called it nature's music. Maybe it was just background sound while you made coffee or opened your curtains. But if you wake up earlier, before the sky turns orange, you step into a different version of the world. The air feels colder. Every sound feels closer. A single leaf moving seems important. A branch shifting feels like a signal. Then one bird calls from somewhere in the dark. A second bird answers. Then another. And slowly, the silence begins to break into patterns. This is the part most people miss. Birds are not simply waking up. They are checking danger, testing the air, listening for rivals, locating partners, watching movement, reading the world before humans even know the day has started. To you, it sounds like birdsong. To them, it may be warning, territory, hunger, fear, memory, and survival. Because before sunrise, birds are not just making noise. They are sending messages through the dark. The first sound often comes alone. You hear it from a tree, a rooftop, a hedge, or somewhere beyond the fence. One small note, sharp, clean, almost fragile. In the darkness, it feels bigger than it should. And this is where the mystery begins. That first call may not be a song in the way humans imagine a song. It may be a test. Before sunrise, the world is dangerous for a small bird. The light is weak, shapes are unclear. A cat could be under a bush. An owl could still be nearby. A snake could be hidden near the ground. Even a quiet human opening a door can become part of the danger. So, when one bird calls, it is taking a risk. Sound gives away location. A bird that calls too soon tells the world, "I am here." But it may also be asking, "Is anyone else here? Is it safe? Did you survive the night?" Then, somewhere else, another bird answers. That answer matters. Suddenly, the first bird is no longer alone in the dark. A hidden network begins to wake, not with wings, not with sunlight, but with sound. To you, it feels peaceful. To the bird, it may be the first dangerous decision of the day. But once one bird answers, the silence does not return, it spreads. Now you hear more calls. One comes from the high branches, another from the fence line, another from a tree across the street. A faint one rises from behind a neighbor's roof. At first, it sounds random, but if you stand still long enough, it begins to feel arranged. The birds are not just making noise. They are placing themselves inside an invisible map. Before sunrise, many birds begin re-establishing territory. A territory is not just a place to sit. It can mean food, nesting space, safety, and access to a mate. For a small bird, a good patch of trees or shrubs can decide whether it thrives or struggles. So the calls become borders. One bird says, "This branch is mine." Another says, "I am still here." A rival listens from the next yard. A mate recognizes a familiar voice. Other birds measure strength by sound. You may hear a soft morning chorus. But birds may hear claims, warnings, challenges, and replies. And what is strange is that they may know your backyard better than you do. They know where the feeder hangs, where the cat appears, where rainwater gathers, where the safest escape branches are. You see a yard, they hear a map, and then something stranger happens. Some birds stop singing exactly when others begin. There are moments when the sounds suddenly stop. Not forever, just for a few seconds. A bird calls. Another answers. then silence. You might think nothing is happening, but in the bird world, silence can be full of information. Before sunrise, birds are not only calling, they are listening. The morning air is often cooler and quieter. Human noise has not fully started. No traffic, no machines, no crowds. Sound can travel farther, and tiny movements become easier to notice. A bird pauses, because listening may save its life. Was that a leaf moving in the wind, or a cat under the hedge? Was that another bird landing, or an owl shifting its wings? Was that the normal sound of the yard, or something new entering the space? This is why sudden silence can feel unsettling. If every bird goes quiet at once, it may mean the area has changed. Something may have moved. A predator may be close. A shadow may have crossed the yard. Even you can cause it. You open the curtain, step onto the porch, turn on a light, and for a moment, the birds stop. Not because nothing is happening, because they are deciding what you are. Because in the bird world, sudden silence can be louder than a scream. You think you are watching the birds, but long before you fully notice them, they may already be watching you. You step near the window, and a bird tilts its head. You open the back door, and another shifts deeper into the branches. You walk toward the feeder, and suddenly the calls change. One bird flies, another stays frozen. A third waits to see what the others do. To birds, you are not background. You are a moving part of the landscape. They learn patterns. They may learn when you fill the feeder, when your lights turn on, when your dog goes outside, when your cat appears near the garden, when children run across the yard. Over time, your daily routine becomes part of their survival map. Some birds may see you as danger. Some may see you as a food source. Some may see you as both. That is what makes the pre-sunrise world so strange. In that dim light, when you feel hidden, birds may already be reading your body, your speed, your shape, your direction, your habits. Their eyes are built for alertness. Their reactions are fast. Their lives depend on noticing small changes before those changes become threats. So the mystery turns around. You are not only observing nature, nature is observing you. And if you feed birds, the morning ritual becomes even more mysterious. If you have a bird feeder, watch what happens before the first full light. Birds may arrive near it, but not land right away. They gather in nearby trees. They wait on fences. They sit on roof edges. One bird moves closer, then stops. Another watches from cover. A third drops lower, but still does not feed. To humans, a feeder looks like kindness. To birds, it is opportunity mixed with danger. Food attracts life, but life attracts predators. A feeder can bring sparrows, finches, robins, doves, blackbirds, and sometimes squirrels. But it can also attract cats, hawks, and anything that knows small birds gather there. So the first bird to land takes the greatest risk. That bird becomes the test. If it feeds calmly, others may follow. If it freezes, alarms, or suddenly flies away, the whole group may react. One small movement can decide whether the feeder becomes safe breakfast or a danger zone. This is not random cuteness. It is decision-making under pressure. Some birds are bold. Some are cautious. Some wait for others to make mistakes. Some rush in fast and leave before trouble arrives. You see breakfast. They experience a battlefield disguised as a gift. But the most shocking signals are not in the feeding, they are in the alarms. Then you hear a different sound. Not a song, not a soft chirp, something sharper, faster, more urgent. A repeated tick, a harsh chatter, a sudden burst from the bushes. And then other birds react. One calls from the tree, another answers from the fence. A bird across the yard joins in. Suddenly, the warning seems to move through the whole space like electricity. This is one of the most powerful secrets of backyard birds. Many birds listen to alarm calls, even from different species. A small bird that sees a cat, owl, snake, or hawk may alert others nearby. And those others do not need to be family. They do not even need to be the same kind of bird. Danger information is too valuable to ignore. If one bird sees the threat first, every bird that understands the warning gets a few extra seconds to survive. To you, the sound may seem like random noise, but to them, it may be a neighborhood alert, a living security system hidden inside the trees. Some calls may even carry clues. Ground danger may create one kind of reaction. A flying predator may create another. A perched owl may cause birds to gather and scold from a distance. They are not alone. They are connected. And just before the sun rises, that hidden network reaches its loudest moment. Now the sky begins to change. Not bright yet, just softer. The black turns blue. The blue begins to thin. Shapes become clearer. Branches appear. The fence line returns. The world starts to reveal itself. And then the sound grows. What began as one call becomes many. What felt like scattered signals becomes a wave. Birds call from trees, wires, rooftops, gardens, hedges, and fields. The dawn chorus rises like the whole world has suddenly remembered its voice. But this is not just beauty. For birds, dawn can be a stage. A bird that sings strongly may be showing strength. It may be defending territory. It may be calling to a mate. It may be saying to rivals, "I survived the night and I am still here." That matters. Night is dangerous for small birds. Cold, hunger, predators, storms, and darkness all test them. Morning is not just a new beginning. It is proof of survival. So when you hear that chorus, you are hearing more than music. You are hearing competition, desire, warning, memory, energy, hunger, life. To humans, it feels calming. But underneath the beauty is urgency. The dawn chorus is not nature waking up. It is nature reporting who made it through the dark. But there is one thing birds do before sunrise that feels almost impossible to explain. Here is the part that feels almost supernatural. Birds begin preparing for morning before morning appears. Before you can see the sun, they shift positions. They face certain directions. They call at certain times. They move toward feeding areas. They behave as if they know the day is coming before the day has arrived. And in a way, they do. Birds are tuned to signals humans barely notice. Tiny changes in light, small shifts in temperature, seasonal timing, air pressure, familiar sounds, internal body clocks that follow rhythms older than any alarm clock. You may need a phone to wake you. A bird reads the sky. And being early matters. The first bird to call may claim space. The first to feed may gain energy. The first to warn may save others. The first to appear strong may keep a rival away or attract a mate. In the bird world, waiting too long can cost something. Food, territory, safety, a breeding chance, a life. Science can explain pieces of this. Light, instinct, hormones, sound, memory, and survival all play a role. But it does not fully remove the feeling. That first call in the dark still feels like a message from a hidden world. And once you understand this, sunrise never feels ordinary again. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you turn on the lights, before the human world becomes loud, try listening. Not after sunrise. Before it, stand near the window. Step quietly outside. Let the dark hold still around you. Then, wait for the first call. Because now you know it may not be simple birdsong. It may be a test signal, a boundary marker, a question in the dark, a warning passed through branches, a feeder decision, a survival announcement, a tiny voice saying, "I made it through the night." And once you hear it that way, birds no longer feel like background creatures. They feel like hidden minds moving through a world of signals we barely understand. They are reading danger, remembering patterns, watching you, listening to each other, measuring light before your eyes can see it, turning fear into sound, and sound into survival. Maybe birds are not just announcing the morning. Maybe they help create the feeling of morning itself. So here is the question. Have you ever heard birds calling before sunrise, and then suddenly everything went silent? Write your country, the bird you saw, or the strangest morning sound you have ever heard. Because the next time a bird calls in the dark, you may realize it was never singing to you. It was warning the world.